I'm Chase.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Customer Service. All right, good morning. It's Tuesday morning here in Boulder, Colorado. It's 11:14 a.m. How are we doing, boys?
Fine. Average. C+.
Cold. I'm doing good.
What's the letter grade?
It's cold.
It is cold, ain't it?
I would say I'm a B+.
I feel like you
Great.
don't. I feel like you don't really drop below a B minus.
No, not really.
It's so true though. Like anytime you can go get Cole throughout the day and be like, "What?" Smiling, having a good time. So shout out you, Cole.
Yeah, I feel like you are only in the A to B range. No matter what happens to me, I'm
It's
in
great.
C to D. You are only in A or F. Period.
Peaks and valleys.
It's true, dude. I mean, I'm fucking melting down. We're having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
What else we got going on?
It feels like you had something.
I didn't. I just sputtered out.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm on my third cup of coffee, which is great. Timothy was so kind to go on Amazon and order me K-Cups, re-up of the K-Cups for the shop, and we got the McCafe coffee K-Cups. Now, here's the thing.
Well, that was by request.
The K-Cups are bad for the environment and bad for you. I'm assuming I'm sucking down microplastics. But
Again, where you choose to be worried and where you're not is so strange. But
that's the thing, because I just had this conversation, and you and I have had this conversation many times, but I will avoid certain things. Like, I'll be goddamned if I drink a Red Bull. I feel like if I drink Red Bull, I'll keel over and die this afternoon. But I would happily eat $30 at Popeyes. So,
and then rip a jewel.
and rip a jewel. If somebody's got one around, hell yeah. But nonetheless.
Rip a jewel that's somebody else's jewel. So on top of it, you're mixing a lot of things.
Yeah, in a perfect world, there's just one around. Somebody has one. Back in the day,
It's a bad day to be a jewel if you own a jewel and Chase is around.
Sage used to have one, and then she quit vaping, but we don't have one around anymore. For our bowling team, we had a bowling team jewel that was part of the squad that we would just have in the bowling bag. It's been a minute since I've been bowling, and in fact, Cole, with you living in Longmont, maybe we need to actually get a bowling team going. Timothy, would you have any interest in joining?
Take a wild guess on that, buddy. No chance in hell.
I think
down.
bowling's tight, dude. I think that we're heading into winter. We need to get a squad going. Do you know anybody in Longmont, or am I the only person you know?
I have a friend in Fort Collins that I know.
Do you think that they would make the trek?
Oh, totally.
Tuesdays or Thursdays nights? Something like that?
Does the bowling alley by me? Does it have the cool ass where you hit a strike? It has like the cool animatronics of
Like on the screen?
like a bowling ball flying through
it's
between
not-
towers.
You said animatronics, like
I knew
Chuck
what
E.
he meant.
Cheese.
I knew what he meant. He meant animations. On the
Animations.
screen. Yeah.
Oh.
He meant animations. I knew what he meant. Yeah. Now I told you where we would go bowl is not like the spot in Denver that is known for being like OG old.
Yeah.
And like has greasy bar food.
I'm
You know
not
what I mean?
going to touch anything there, but I'd go with you because I like that
bowling-
vibe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch bowling balls and stuff.
If I remember correctly, this is a more recently remodeled bowling alley. So it's got a little bit more. It's got a little less grit and just like a little more like modern. You know
Every
what I
time
mean?
I've gone to a bowling alley now, they look so dumb. They're like it's just like it looks like an AMC. You know what I mean? Like, and there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Shout out Wheat Ridge Lanes in Denver, out in Wheat Ridge, if you could believe that. That is the best bowling alley in town. It's still like affordable. The bar bangs. They do the steak dinner that Cooper loves, you know, like $14 or $12 for a steak dinner, a baked potato. Love that. But yeah, so maybe we'll get a little bowling team going. I think that sounds great. We'll probably just need
How many people do you
5
need?
individuals. I think we did 4 or 5 individuals. So either way, I'll look into the teams today and I'll get back to you.
All right.
Sounds fun. What did we get into this weekend, Timbo?
Well, I don't know. I did something that I don't remember. Honestly, I did feel like one of the days I was somewhat solo. I went to the gym a lot.
Nice.
I went to the gym a lot, so that's nice because I had some time, and I had I had a wedding that I went to the next day, but I didn't have much going on Saturday, so I just kind of
Milled around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed to do some solid zoning out. I haven't had a
Yeah, I
chance
get
because
you.
it's just been back to back to back.
Yeah.
Not really any good movies playing. Just wasn't anything to do.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, The jet lag is now fixed.
You're back
but
in this bitch.
I am up between 5:30 and 6, like automatically, and I don't really want that to change now.
I was gonna say, dude, keep it rolling.
Yeah. Well, I have to be up at 6:30.
Yeah.
6:30 and 7 is my normal time. But now I'm like on this 5:30 to 6 range. But when I wake up, like my eyes just open and I'm ready to go.
It's so sick.
So I'm trying to keep that going. So I did that all weekend, but the problem is nobody else is up. So I go to the gym and there's nobody there and it's great. So
That's the dream with travel. Every time we'd come home, I'd be like, oh, this is my opportunity to reset my shit.
Yeah.
And it happens for a week and then I'm back to my old ways. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did that and I went to a wedding in Fort Collins. It was nice. It's fine.
What do you think
Regular.
of Fort Collins? Is that your first time out there, you think?
I went out there for a wedding of a person who I saw get married's sister years ago.
Sure. Yep.
But I will be up front with you. This was a different time in my life. I was much younger, and my brother-in-law, Jared, was with me, and we were a little bit of wild cards when left to our own devices, and it was a pretty big, like,
being
it
bad.
was like a house wedding.
Yeah.
So we were, and like kind of the neighborhood kind of came, if
Yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
hell yeah.
So we were really like loose.
Yeah, I bet.
You know what I mean? And we were, so I don't remember it super well.
A house wedding, dude.
Yeah, and it was like at night. So like because I was in an unfamiliar area at night and we'd
Yeah.
been drinking, I really don't remember it super
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And the night before, it was like all the wedding parties went out, so everyone was also bad that night. So I really don't remember it at all.
Fair.
Is the issue?
Fair,
Not
fair.
because I was like
As it goes.
blackout, because that was like it was like 15 years ago
Yeah.
plus alcohol.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So
be it, yeah.
I don't really remember it. It was nice. It's fine.
Fort Collins is cute, yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. If I feel like if I grew up there or something, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. It's kind of cool. You get like a nicer view of the mountains from out there.
It's
is
kind
nice.
of like it's similarly positioned to Boulder in that you have access.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has a university, but the university is much smaller than CU.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like Main, I don't know if you passed, but like Main Street Fort Collins, or like what would be the equivalent of Pearl.
Oh,
there's
yeah,
all
yeah,
the-
yeah, yeah.
It's like
No.
actually really cute and small and old Western feeling.
I kind of remember going to that the first time I came,
Yeah.
like that area, because we went to like a bookstore or something, had lunch
Sure.
or whatever. I didn't go through that. It was like on the outside. It was like at like a horse farm. There was
Yeah.
no horses. I couldn't find horses. I walked around outside for a little
Insane.
bit. But there was a big statue of them, and there was horses adjacent.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, there's horses around here somewhere.
Yeah.
But I went around the perimeter of the building. No, nothing to look at. So it did kind of look like LA at night because we were up on a hill and then you could see the mountains and then there's city next to it.
Hell
A
yeah.
little further out. So that was kind of had a cool look to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
It's fine.
No, that's
It was like a
cool.
wedding where we didn't have to do anything, which is like normally like Abby has to do a million things and I sort of have to.
This
watch-
weekend was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was just like we were attending,
Yeah, beautiful.
So it was fine. I've told you a million times, I don't mind a wedding. First
No.
of all, they tell you what to do. Socializing is sort of like easier because you're like,
We're all in
who do
this
you know?
together.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
something to at least say. And, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. I have to explain my job to people a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's always fun.
What do you say, actually, Timothy? That's a good question, actually, that I think people might be interested in.
I don't
People
know.
are like,
I change it
what do
based
you
on the-
do for work? What would you say? Because I don't know what I
take
say
in-
it changes.
I take in the vibe. And if you can tell, it's one of those questions of like, I'm just asking to ask, you know what I mean? Or to try to gauge how much money you have
Yeah.
thing. I just go, work at a clothing company and just let it be that.
Yeah, yeah.
What they don't care beyond that information anyway.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on who it is, I'll say, what do you mean to bump here? I'll say like, technically I'm the CEO of a company. I said, I still see myself operating predominantly, even though it's not my only job, is the buyer. So I'll say I buy for a company, or it just depends on what they say. Cause I'll just listen to what they say. And then I'll be like, oh, I do that at work in this way. Cause I kind
Yeah.
of do a little bit of everything. So
Yeah, I feel you.
yeah.
I just do, I don't, it's not important to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's important to any, like, unless you have a known interesting job, like, and it's like, it's interesting to me, but like to the average person, if I'm just like at a wedding, no one gives a shit that we work in fashion. And then they're like, what kind? And I'm like super niche Japanese. If you don't already know
Yeah.
what Canoe Club is,
Yeah,
and
then
you
you're not
probably
gonna
don't
know
know
what
the
it
rest
is.
of
It's
stuff
hard
I'm
to
going to
explain.
say.
Yeah.
Unless occasionally you get like a guy who sort of understands like streetwear because of sneakers or something. And then they think it's like related to that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not like Kith, but
Yeah.
it's Kith for a very different type of guy.
Yeah, totally. But if you know Kith, you can understand what's going on. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I base it on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
Whatever the interest level seems to be.
Yeah, yeah. That's fair to gauge that. I usually just say, I work in fashion. We do we're a small company where we got wear a lot of hats. That's typically what I.
That's good. I don't. Yeah, I just don't.
'Cause
I don't need this, and I also don't really care what they do. You know what I mean? It's like not that interesting to me.
Here's the thing. There's a fella just joined the Discord who lays hardwood the old-fashioned way.
Well, see,
And that is fucking
That's
sick.
cool.
If you know, like, I shout out you. I won't blow up your spot, but I legitimately think like that's like the coolest thing. You meet somebody that does something like that. That's really cool. But largely, your job is a job, and I understand you go to there to get paid money, and that's that.
That person thinks that job's boring and
100%.
or like not interesting. And then you know what I mean, that's sort of the issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree that is something I'd have follow-up questions about.
Oh,
Someone's
100%.
like, I actually work logistics and and I'm like,
That doesn't
some
mean
guy started
anything,
telling me
man.
about like how he like they build like robots that build, and I was like, I could give
God.
a shit, man. Like, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
Why are you
All
building
right,
those things?
iRobot.
Yeah, unless you're building one that looks like Wall-E,
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Unless it's gonna do something cool.
Yeah.
All these things do. All these robots now just move weird, and they do
Yeah.
like a sudden backflip.
What? Yeah.
It's like, ew. Can you imagine? Like,
Boston Dynamics really programmed that backflip in.
well, and that's the thing. It's like, can you imagine like talking to a guy and he just does a backflip? They're like, that's enough of this. That's enough of this conversation. You know what I mean?
You know, what do you want? What would you want a robot to do if you had
Nothing.
I would, first off, I don't want a fucking robot.
No, I don't want them to do anything. I want just like people to do jobs because that's like, you know.
We got to fill our time fucking somewhere
Yeah,
unless we're all
what are you
independently
guys
wealthy.
trying to do? You know what I mean? I know it's like about money, but like everyone was making money before. You know what I mean? Like, what was the issue? Just let everyone do jobs, and then it's like funny when people do them bad, and you know some are better than others, and it's just like interesting things kind of.
You know, it's I just think if we could go back to when I got my first burner phone, it was still Singular. Remember Singular wireless?
Why are you putting like an accento?
Wasn't it Singular or Singular?
Singular.
Singular. Shoot.
What are you doing?
Singular.
I thought it was singular, like it goes through the air.
I don't. Is it spelled that way with like air at the end?
Singular. It might just be singular wireless.
With a C, right?
Singular.
Yeah, with the C, right?
Singular.
I
yeah.
think I remember.
Nonetheless, they got purchased by someone. But if we could go back to that amount of technology, MySpace was around, Facebook wasn't around.
The perfect
Just go
time,
back to that.
the perfect technology, like the height
MySpace.
when the height of tech was Sidekick.
Yeah. I remember there was this
Picture
kid.
perfect.
There was this kid named Billy. He was 1 year older than me. He was a big boy. Billy was like the biggest dude that you knew when you met him in 7th grade until you went away to college. He was just the biggest guy around.
Yeah.
And I remember on the bus one time, he took out his phone, and that little mechanism, still to this day, that was so tight. Like, it lives in a place of my head of like, in my head, Billy spent $10,000 on that phone. You know what I mean?
And to be clear, those phones were bad at doing like anything.
They were just, weird
like-
ways to play Worm or whatever.
Well, no, the best piece of technology that we could have ended on was the chocolate.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the
LG
chocolates were
chocolate.
dope.
Great
And
feels good in the hand, nice to flick, nice mechanism. Still
Yeah.
felt like hardware, not
It
just
still
like
had
a
that
solid
haptic
thing.
nature,
Yeah, it was like you could
like a
slip in your
Zippo.
pocket
It-
easy. It was
I-
a perfect size.
I really liked the LG Envy. It was the one that
Yeah.
came with your
it
upgrade
went
with
like this.
Verizon. It went up,
Yeah,
but it could also be a standard phone.
yeah.
That was a good.
I had one of those too. Yeah.
You know what we don't do enough talking about, and our buddy Dan Garfinkel, he's been on the pod. Go show some love to him. We have for Christmas. I was given that little wipe dispenser. You know what I'm talking about? And it has that haptic nature. Maybe haptic. Haptic is the word here, where it has the magnetic open. And he was telling us a story that the person who created the holder itself for these wipes, which we have Corpus wipes in them right now or something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That person was also on the team or in charge of the lid for AirPod Pros. So there's that, you've seen people play with.
He's a lid guy.
Yeah.
He's a lid guy. And he knows that people hold everybody who's had I would assume you too, has had the AirPod Pros. You're standing there, you've played with the magnetic open close mechanism. You know what I mean? There's something about it. It's like your favorite pocket knife or whatever, what have you. Anyway, point being, we need more things like
saying
that.
things so weird lately.
Really?
This has been like a thing off pod too. Just to be clear, he's just saying. It's like you're playing around with a new language.
It's like my mouth got switched out for someone else's mouth.
Well, that might have been it.
But you know what I'm saying? the reason that the chocolate felt good in hand is because of that mechanism.
There was still a little innovation happening. Every phone is this. It's just, it looks like this and it does this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why isn't it doing something anymore?
You know,
Make it do stuff.
yeah, or yeah, you know, go back to it. Just go back to the iPhone 5C.
Yeah, honestly, if they could just release the chocolate and it's got Spotify on it and like, you know what I mean? And like email just so I can like do normal stuff like that I have to look at. Great.
Here's the
But
thing.
that has to be programmable.
No, in my life is as much as I'd love to be. And listen, when I get the bag, you guys will know because I'll disappear. I'll keep in touch via email, but you're not going to be able to get in touch with me.
I think we've talked enough.
Yeah, love you, buddy. We'll still keep in touch. But,
I think we've said everything we were gonna say.
But there's something tight about just being off the grid, dude. Just like maybe you got a BlackBerry and it answers email or something.
Why do you always have to take it to these? This is what I'm talking about, the A or F thing. Why do you got to take it to these extremes? I agree. We could just use a more restricted phone that is cool and has new things. Like, where's this AirPod guy now? Why is he not making cool stuff for this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to press the screen thing up against my face. That feels dumb. This doesn't fit in a pocket. I don't feel like this is what Steve Jobs wanted.
No.
I mean, just he's a piece of shit, but
and here's the thing. I got
that daughter.
Wait, what?
I'll just talk about Steve Jobs.
Oh, I don't know anything about him. I know that he when he passed, he was doing the fruitarian diet thing. That was a little bit of a bummer because I thought, shit, that's kind of it. That'll solve your problems. But
I respect him as like an entity. Do you know what I mean? But like not. I mean, he's like a bad guy.
Yeah,
he like cut his kids out and didn't give them money and
There
shit.
was
Right?
like one kid that he wouldn't acknowledge, and then named a computer after her, and wouldn't acknowledge that until later. He wouldn't give her any money. She was like, her and her
Was
mom
she
were like living off
nasty to him?
welfare. She was a baby when he disowned her, brother.
Why?
What could the baby have done? He's just a bad guy.
Yeah. I think
he was
he's
just
like he thinks
just
he's
an
a
evil
genius
guy.
and all this. Like,
yeah.
I don't. You know what? I don't think we need geniuses. Cut him out.
Here's the thing. We
Can you
talked.
name one guy that's considered a genius that's like a good guy anymore? No, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course
No.
not.
It's too much power and money. I think it just
Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine.
As we
but
have
but
this-
he lives in the middle of nowhere and just hoards Jaguars. You
As
know
we
what I
have
mean?
this
Like, it's not a
ass hat
problem.
with a Tesla sedan parked in our loading zone, I wish that we could like C4 that car and blow it up.
C4.
Because I hate when
Counter-Strike
people,
terms.
I hate when people park their
Bombs
shit in a
playing
loading
terms.
zone because it just doesn't apply to them.
Yeah, people need to play. You know what? We do need to go back to where that's what Japan. That's a society
Yeah.
that plays by the rules.
Yeah,
I like that.
you're going to work within the
I'm sick of
system,
this.
or the system is going to turn on
Yeah,
you.
United
so
States
I
is all
should be able to
preferential
set this
treatment.
dumb fucking car on fire because I know that this 97-year-old inbreed is somewhere nearby and just thinks that doesn't apply.
Or there
to
should
them.
be an outside button that's a neutral option that I'm allowed to push it out of the way. If if you did something dumb, I have the ability to fix it.
Yeah. But anyway.
I don't know where we were.
Oh, I was gonna say I got my iPhone XR whenever that was new, right? And then that was my phone for years, 5 years or so.
great iPhone.
And then I inherited this iPhone 12 from someone here, and I switched over to it. Except this thing runs like a Windows 95 tower trying to run Windows Vista. You know what I mean? Two very outdated technologies, but it's just barely chugging along, dude. I didn't know phones could lag like a computer like this one does. So Michan's gonna move over to my Verizon because I opened up an account, and so she's gonna move over there. We're gonna merge our things, and so I'm gonna get a new phone. But the thing is, the new phones are
that's
tablets.
big of you guys.
Yeah, I know.
It's a big relationship move after 25 years.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the only thing. But I don't want a tablet for a phone. Or do I though?
It's the same thing as I got, brother, and it's newer than that. It might run a little better. It looks the
Yeah.
same. It's not like they're not doing anything new.
No,
They were
I-
like, look, we updated it. It looks like glass now. I'm like, why does it look like Windows Vista again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why'd we go-
Which was tight when it came out. Let's show some love to
It was
that.
yeah,
cool,
it was a
yeah.
big deal.
My buddy got it. It was cool. But you know what I mean? It does, and it tells you the thing where like the phone at max capacity, the volume, the battery operates at like 73%. You know what I
think
mean?
the issue is we don't all do stuff at the same time anymore. Remember when Comcast internet came out and we were all like, Everyone's moving to it. We're excited. It's different. It's
Yeah.
a notable difference.
Yeah.
Now they're just like, it's 3G, 4G, 5G. I haven't noticed one thing that has happened, except for they've got those nasty looking Metal Gear towers everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cole's getting fiber, and
I
would legitimately, and I'm not trying to dunk on you because I think it's cool,
Yeah.
but I
Can't imagine where we're.
But I'm legitimately, I'd like to see fiber next to what would be considered the cheapest of the alternatives, right?
Yeah.
And I'm legitimately curious if you can notice a performance difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Point being is all of these companies are just
I don't
making a
even
bunch
know
of
what
money
I
and they're
have,
selling
dude.
all the same product. It's all the same product with slight variations that we as
This is the
laymen
issue.
cannot
All
tell the difference
cars look
in.
the same now. All the
Yeah.
phones look the same. Everything looks the same.
Everything
I want it to
fucking
be.
same,
let's,
dude.
let's make some weird shit. Let's make some sidekicks again.
Yeah.
Let's make some dumb cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's go back to only eating at Chipotle.
Well, hold on. Okay. That seems. This is again where it's kind of seems like a you thing, not like a world thing.
I can't lie, y'all. I got Chipotle on the mind. I got a free entree reward in my app, and I'm getting that for lunch. So
Jesus Christ. I just also can't imagine eating Chipotle for lunch. This is gonna bother everyone.
Oh,
Like,
man.
that is a heavy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm
I
looking
know.
forward to filming right up.
Performance guy.
Well known.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you? Yeah, it's like you're always preparing for like it's like you were a peasant, and you're like, well, I
Timothy-
need to fill my body up with a hearty stew tonight because it might be ages. It's like it will be 6 hours, and then you'll eat again, maximum.
On Friday, we had the tamales lady come through, so I bought 6 tamales to take home. Cole's wife had brought through some extra sandwiches that were not eaten at an event that she was
When
hosting.
he left here, it looked like we were closing.
I had
It
a
looked
BLT sandwich. I had a triple decker turkey sandwich, 6 pork green chili tamales, 2 bean and cheese burritos that I brought home. Would you believe me if I said we consumed most of it that night?
Chase, you got to get it under control.
Chase, you call me my government name.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. But I do have something with food. There's some sort of scarcity thing going on where I do like, it's my favorite thing. My favorite thing is the next meal, you know?
It's just like I think that's it. It's also like not living in the moment at all and always obsessed with will I have enough for later if later comes. It's
If
like,
I don't, yeah. No, you're right. So yeah. Other than that, you had a good weekend, Timothy.
it was fine. What did you do besides I'm assuming eat that stuff and then sleep for the rest of the time?
So one, I'd like to shout out myself.
Oh, here we go.
He's gonna hate this.
I'm gonna go take a break because between this and he's gonna roll this into football talk. You don't need me. For
Yeah,
the
we
next
are gonna
20
do a little
minutes.
football talk real quick. I woke up Saturday morning. I had a wild hair on my ass or whatever. What's the term?
That's it. You got it.
I had a hair on my ass about. I had it in my mind that I talked all this shit about.
I stopped. I pushed the mic away for what 1 minute, and then you've already. This is what would happen.
I got a hair on my ass this weekend because I had been talking so much shit on the
hair
pod.
up my ass. You can't keep saying hair on my ass.
Hair up my ass because I had been talking all this shit. I'm a D2 wide receiver, this, that, and the other. I can kick a field goal far. And I was like, you know what? Fine, fuck it. So I woke up Saturday morning, and in the clothes that I slept in, I fashioned myself a field goal kicker holder.
I told you,
hold the football.
it's a device that looks like the Unabomber made it.
That is a compliment. Thank you very much. He was a genius. I actually, no, let me walk that back.
Okay, here you go.
He was legitimately, though, he was like a math genius. But I want to say I'm not co-signing the
His
Unabomber.
behaviors.
He shouldn't have killed all those innocents. I just want to say that. But Timothy's right. What I fashioned was nothing short of a feat of engineering. As I say, I should be building bridges. I took 3 stakes from my garden and was able to fashion them together. And in fact, maybe we can insert a photo here for all you video listeners. And I made a field goal.
Video listeners, what's going on?
Video
with
watchers, podcast watchers, watch the video. Dude, send me home. Send me home.
You want to take a timeout or something? Sports term for you.
right.
fashioned a psychotic little tool for himself.
I fashioned.
that is basically like the equivalent of like he couldn't find a friend, so he had to make a tool about it.
Exactly. Mishan was not keen to hold the ball for me. So I Googled, field goal kick holder or whatever it would be that holds the ball upright so you can kick it as if somebody were holding it.
One came up on Amazon for $4, and he thought, "No, sir."
I got the materials right here. I got duct tape and 3 stakes. Again, we'll insert the photo. It was a feat of engineering. And I went out to the local high school by my house. And so I was out there. I was like, all right, look, this is what we're going to do. I've talked enough shit. If I can kick the field goals far, I will tell everybody. If I
want to
can't,
make it clear, you're using a lot of like this is what we're gonna do. This is a solo mission.
this is me loose, my body loose out in the world. Which
This
is
is
rare.
an adult man in crisis.
So I thought I show up to this turf football field. They got the field goal post, and I go, all right, cool. I'm going to just try it, and we're going to see where it goes. If I can't do it far, I won't make a big thing out of it. Maybe I'll let everybody know I can't kick it that far, but I won't make a big thing out of it.
Guaranteed you wouldn't have said shit.
I would
Guaranteed
have told
know
you. I would have told you maybe not on the pod, but I would have said, "Hey man, it's actually much harder." Maybe actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna walk that back. I'm happy to eat crow. I probably would have come on the pod and been like, "It's harder than I thought. Couldn't kick it that far," and that would have been it. However, I'm happy to report I very comfortably kicked a 45-yard field goal. I started out. I walk out onto the field, and I'm at I'm at what would be a 25-yard field goal. I go, "Oh man, this is further than I thought." Kick to 40, kick to 35, first try, no problem. Kick to 40, no first try, no problem. 45 took a little more effort, but I was able to get it. So I just wanted to shout out me and say that I was right. I could kick a 45-yarder right off the rip. I'm going to go back Saturday. I think I can kick a 50 or a 55er. I need to find my soccer shoes. So I woke up early and did that.
This would be the correct place if we were sponsored to put a BetterHelp ad.
I am sore beyond belief. You wouldn't believe how sore you get not doing any physical
For
activity.
some reason, within 1 year of you watching football, you thought it's not enough to watch it. It's not enough to hold a football while I watch it. It's not enough to listen to podcasts and kind of get arguably pretty obsessive about something. And
Timothy, it's inarguable.
then you had to get into like a group about it. Now you're out there trying to do it.
So here's the thing. Yes, all of that is true. I enjoy little challenges, and it felt like kicking a field goal is something that I could accomplish, but would be fun to try. So, but yes, to say that my obsessive tendencies have not completely taken over would be a lie, a bold-faced lie. It's so deep, it's almost out of my control how much I am obsessed with football and deep in football. Also,
I
I wanted
said
to say,
before, if you could just focus this on something
like investing.
like
Here's the thing.
something useful, you could be a billion. And just to be clear, I'm also, I got into painting last year in November and did 300 by February. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you get it. You get it. It's
it.
just different, Football is just not the thing for you, and I totally get it. I also want to say, if we got any listeners out there in the sports betting community that does DFS, like DFS tournaments, bang my line. I'm putting together a little group of people, and we're gonna start making some money. I will say I've cashed
Jesus
I've on comfortably, if I've put together like 15 to 18 lineups over the last 3 weeks, I've cashed on 14 of them.
Chase, I need you to understand, if you lost even $100, the spin out, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to do like wellness checks on you.
I'm building up my pot, so to speak, very modestly. I won $33 this last week off of $12 investment. So I'm just slowly building it up. And I would like to do some entries which are more like $50, $100 entries if I can get the pot to accommodate such a thing. I'm going to say this. I am not like most sports bettors in that if I start losing money crazy, I just won't do it anymore. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm having fun with my little dollar entries. I was in 9th place out of 7,142 people last weekend.
I'm just telling you, even $65 lost, you're gonna need Sully to land that plane. That he dies.
I would agree that if I were throwing money out of my bank account in every weekend, but since it's never hitting my bank account, it's kind of like PayPal. It's fun money. It's not real money. These are just numbers on a screen. It's just a game.
Doesn't it just like stress you out for no reason?
Mm-mm. It's not real money. I'm telling you earnestly, it's
not
not
real money.
real
You have to
money.
pay attention to it, and like, isn't it just like, ugh?
I like it. It's information to take in on like a really granular basis, and I just like it. It's the perfect sweet spot for me in my obsessive tendencies. I'm a very, very obsessive person, which is why I didn't drink until I was almost 22. That's why I love weed so much. So
Kind of just cycling through bad stuff right now.
yeah, you know what I mean?
And so alcohol, weed, and football.
All of which is fine. You know what I mean? But point being, football has struck that chord.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't drink in high school because I'll tell you right now, truthfully, if I drank in high school,
I think you've got a nervous system problem with dopamine, brother. That's what this is. But okay, yeah.
I just love football and I want to have as many avenues to consume the content and participate in my ways as I can. So also, so that's that. I kicked a 45-yard field goal. We'll insert the videos for everyone that thought I couldn't. I can.
Just put in the long one. We're not gonna put in 3 video.
No. We'll just put in one. We'll put in one 40 or 45-yard or whatever one is like better. I had to drag a garbage can from the side of the field and stack it up and videotape myself and all that. Yeah.
Oh, these are details.
Yeah.
You didn't tell us yet.
Yeah. So you guys I was out there. I was really in it.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait until like whatever time you coordinate with Michelle. I'm gonna go try to film you doing all the things, doing all the little setups. You trying to mess with that weird little metal thing you have.
Yeah. So
you dragging trash can around to get the film.
I had to do what I had to do. There were a bunch of kids
You
playing
hire
soccer,
a task
and I
rabbit
had to
for
do what I had
some
to do.
teenager to come film it for you.
I wasn't gonna have somebody come hold it. Here's that. You know what I mean? I knew I had to fashion some sort of apparatus.
I told you I'll do it for you.
Just so you could Charlie Brown my ass, blow my kneecap out.
Yeah, I want to see you spin, just like Charles Brown.
Charles Brown. Yeah. So that's kicking field goals. That was a lot of fun.
Okay.
We need to find another task for me to try to do. It was a good week in fantasy for me. Jahmyr Gibbs put up 36 points. I think Jamar Chase had 38. And the rest of my team also had a really good week. So I'm feeling good.
I bet if I had you try to list your family tree to me, you can't get as many names as you could off of football.
I could tell you up to my grandparents on both sides, and some of their siblings. So, you know.
You understand what I'm getting.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. What else you got? That's it. That was
Yeah. Yep. That's it. Oh, then this weekend, that's about it. I just watched a bunch of football. I mowed the lawn. Leaves are falling in our neighborhood. What about you, Cole? You got a bunch of leaves in your yard already and shit? Because our trees are already empty, dude. On our side of the street, our trees are completely barren. On the other side of the street, the trees are still green. I don't know
what happened.
Whether they're different make and models, so to speak, or it was just like the light that hits it, or what's going on. But
it's probably like north versus south facing, because your front is north facing, your back is south facing, right? Your backyard.
Yes, exactly.
So I wonder, because we have a silver maple that's still like halfway there. Leaves are trippy as hell to look at, though. They're like silver on the back.
You were saying, it's cool.
And then like on the top, it's like green. Really cool. Looks like it's like from IKEA. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
No, it does.
You guys want to discuss the traffic this morning or anything?
Traffic wasn't that bad this morning. They're getting that construction on Diagonal under control, to be honest with you. But
I keep seeing cyclists though, and I'm like, I don't know why.
Welcome to the party.
Like, I think you have a death wish, honestly.
Thank you, Cole.
I'm like, there's so many. You could go the back way. There's like so many back ways to bike.
For all of our performative bike riders,
I don't know why they're doing
it. Okay, all right, okay.
I wasn't even gonna do a whole bit, but I do want to say what Cole's saying about this is a fucking highway.
Like,
this is not a side street. This
60.
is not a neighborhood. You know it. This is a fucking highway where if it's not in construction, the speed limits are 65 miles an hour, and people ride their bike on that road.
People say Diagonal all the time, and I just go, I have no idea where that's at.
It's the long road you took to come to my house to pick up your phone that one time.
Ugh.
It's a highway. It's literally, like, I'm not exaggerating, 65 miles an hour is the speed limit when it's not under construction, and people ride their bike on that street. So I just want to validate Cole saying here, yeah, it is crazy. And I've been saying this for the entirety of living in Longmont. What are people doing?
Yeah, I don't.
Absolutely nuts. So,
Chase, can I ask you a question?
Please.
And then we can go away from football. But this is a good Discord question that regards football.
Yeah.
If you were a head coach for a theoretical Canoe Club football team,
That would be your second coaching job.
Yeah.
Because you already have one.
Yeah, you already have one. Which
What do you mean? What's my
coworkers-
one? My other fantasy football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understood.
Your dynasty.
Yeah, you're right, boss.
My
Yeah,
team,
continue.
my wins, my poor kids.
My effort, etc.
Which coworkers would you assign to which position?
Okay, well, this is what we're gonna do. It's gonna be a fantasy football lineup, and I'm gonna do it quickly.
Okay.
But just so
Thank
we don't
you.
have to talk about offensive, defensive, this, that, the other. I don't know.
Just like, we only have so many employees, and there's
Yeah.
like 100 people on a team. I don't know how any of them have ever gotten tired before.
To any employee that I don't name, I'm sorry for leaving you out. I was thinking about this last night. Right off the rip, Timothy is the defense. He could be nasty. You're not going to fuck with him. Timothy's the defense.
I'm confident, like, if there was a challenge, I can push you back. And I'm confident about it.
That's what your
Timothy would be the defense. And I think in particular, he is like, not like a Max Crosby, but like a Ray Lewis kind of situation where he's nasty as fuck. Now,
I don't know
disregard
any-
all
I don't know any of
the
those.
off-field drama with Ray Lewis. He was like maybe involved in a murder or something like that. I don't really know all of it, but point being, you're nasty, and I think you could get down. I think Timothy's the
I told
defense.
you I wanted to be the owner of the NFL. Isn't he like a bad guy?
I actually don't know much about the ownership of the
You know what? I
NFL.
can confidently say without knowing, he's a bad guy.
Listen, if you own an entity like the NFL, yeah,
You're
you stepped on somebody at some point. You know what I mean?
Skeletons in the closet.
So Timothy's the defense. Let's start from the top. QB, who would be the quarterback? Because it's like, it might be Abby. And here's why.
Okay.
Because Abby is like able to take in a lot of different information. Her desktop is crazy. The amount of tabs she has in her Google Chrome is crazy. I'm saying respectfully. This is praise to Abby because she's able to keep it all straight and get it done. We all know Abby is the absolute biggest workhorse out of all of us. The amount of stuff that she can get done in her ways through systems that make sense to her is legitimately remarkable. So I think Abby's the quarterback. She's kind of, directing the way things are going, and she's seeing things from a top-down view, but is able to like process the information really quickly. Let's just say we'll have a running back.
Okay, you can't leave.
I think it's
this much
Alec.
dead air. You can't-
I think Alec is our running back because I think he could be like a Jahmyr Gibbs-esque person where he's like hyper athletic.
Yeah.
He's cool, swaggy, but like strong too. Al's
I'm
like a
not
strong
doing
dude.
a bit. I don't know one thing you're talking about.
No, I know you don't.
I don't know when you guys say 40-yard. I don't know what the hell that's nothing.
Running-
I don't. That means nothing to me.
Running back is the guy that the quarterback throws to.
Hands it off to. He lines up typically behind the QB, and it's like an on-the-ground play. So I think I think Al would be the running back. I'm the wide receiver.
You're white. Yeah, classic.
Tight end, Cole.
Are you a kicker
You're
too?
a classic tight. I'm kicker too, by the way. I'm
Okay.
kicker too. Cole, you're a classic tight end. You're a classic tight end.
What does a tight end do again?
A tight end is going to be responsible for catching the ball sometimes.
Okay.
But a tight end is also often a big, strong guy on the field to block
I
for
see.
run plays, things like that.
Okay.
So I think for that reason, I think you'd make a good, strong tight end.
Thank you. Take this as a compliment.
I think that's it. Without going too deep into it, we could throw in. No, I think that's it.
You left out you only mentioned 4 employees.
Well, there's multiple running backs, multiple wide receivers, multiple quarterbacks within a lineup, and it's too much. It's too much.
The rest of us
you
just
bailed
go
on this.
into
I was
I'll
giving
go
you
too
the
much.
space to do
I think
your
that
whole thing.
those are the league leaders. Those
I'd
would be the
let
obvious
you
shoo-ins
go
for
way
that.
over our 5-minute agreed upon football talk. I don't want it to be a damn football podcast.
That's our
my
league
nightmare.
leaders. That's our league leaders. I think.
Okay.
I said Chirabo would make like a good cornerback, like a defensive end, like something like that. I think because he's tall, lanky, long.
Yeah.
He could get in front of the ball.
I want to be cheer coach.
Yeah, you could be true. What if you were a flyer? You know what I mean? The girls that fly in the air. They
I'm
get
not
thrown
small
around.
enough. That would be a real compliment. But unfortunately, I know I'm not small enough.
That'd be tight. But that's about it. That's about it. And it's a good question, but it's tough. And I need to have the list of the employees out, and it's just
You're bailing on it.
Yeah. Well.
Surprised you didn't.
But I think that those are the league leaders. Those are the obvious.
maybe Louis
He's
could
the
be
tight end
mascot.
one.
Yeah. Louis can. Oh, the red Goldens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel good?
Okay,
Yeah, I feel good
We
about
get it
that.
out of your system.
I got it out of my system. I kicked
I
a
let you do
45-yarder.
3 different things.
Yeah.
So let's just remember that.
I also want to say CU's longest kick this season is 42 yards. Now, obviously, it's different doing it in a game, but with a little bit of practice, too bad I'm 32. Don't have any NCAA eligibility.
You're able to always get yourself into these situations like, if this or that and the other, I'd be a professional.
If only I knew. If only I knew I was gifted, you know?
Yeah. What's the real depressing part is we laugh like, ha ha ha. It's like he legitimately thinks that's the issue. Like
if I was going into college knowing what I know, I'd legitimately try out for a kicker for a NCAA like D2 school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
I mean, we have to agree that there's obviously a difference between someone who's practiced this all the time and knows what they're doing.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. That's not up for debate.
Yeah. I mean, I know
also
you still think that it'd be 1-to-1 though.
All I'm saying is I'd never done it in my life, and at 32 I woke up, put on shoes, and drove out to a football field and did it.
Chase, if I went out and could do it too,
you could.
Like if I hit it, how mad would you be?
I wouldn't, because it's not hard, is what I'm saying. You could. You played soccer as long as I.
Hard? What do you mean it's not hard? What are we talking about then? You're saying you just think all kickers are bad?
I don't think that all kickers are bad, but I think that it's a little easier than I thought it was, considering I'm 32, went out and did it without any practice at all, and I made a rig out of shit I found in my garage, and my first try I kicked a PAT. You could too. You played soccer for a long time, and you literally could too. You could come with me and go out and kick it. First try.
Yeah.
Really? You could.
We need to move on. We need to move on with this.
All right. Here's the thing. I don't want to get in trouble for like, oh, he's not letting him do his little thing.
He's letting me do my thing.
I let him do 3 things, 3 full.
He could.
He sputtered out for the first 15. I let him go.
He could kick it too. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Anyone out there that played soccer for most of their life, listen to this.
I'm never gonna do it.
I know you wouldn't.
If you threw me a football, I'd go.
Ew.
I don't want to get that thing away from me. I was asked to bring up the fashion news. I know this is going to be hard for you to switch like this now.
Yeah, hit me with it.
Doesn't even like it now. Grace Wales Bonner taking over as creative director at Hermes.
Cool.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. Number one, there's never anyone of color or female in any of these positions because these are old, stupid systems and they suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think this is great news. Now, I had the reason I think this is great news is I think she can do something interesting there, which is great, and it needs that like desperately because it's old and stodgy, and it's had good creative directors in the past, but it's always felt pretty limited. And I think she's the right choice in that like she has a very clear aesthetic. I think that one thing that like you know, they'll talk about women or men, usually men, designers. You can tell if they like love women or hate women by the way they design. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that one thing that's really clear when I look at anything from Wales Bonner is that she really loves people in general.
Interesting.
She dresses people well, and people seem like the forefront of the design work as opposed to this is my aesthetic applied to everything. It feels like it's very time and place. Very smart. I think she's a really great designer. You know, so I think that's a really interesting and cool move
for her
for a lot of reasons.
Hermes is cool too. Like,
yeah,
you know, I'm not super cute in on all the high fashion stuff, but I think Hermes is like one of those brands that like is still legitimately cool and hasn't become like an internet meme.
Yeah, I mean, I think
the
reality is you think that it's like cool because of the wealth associated with it. The collection itself, I don't think you'd resonate with even a little bit.
No, but like for instance, like
I remember that Christophe Lemaire also creative director of I'm all fucked up now. Hermes for a time.
Oh, he was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, while having Lemaire?
Mm-hmm.
Or was this pre
I think he would have still had it.
Lemaire?
Yeah. I mean, they usually don't give up one for the other, but I don't know if he'd started that yet or not. I can't remember.
No, it's cool. Yeah, no, I'm resonating to, like, for instance, Louis Vuitton, shout out Pharrell. He's an alien. He hasn't aged. He looks beautiful. He's really cool. I like how he personally dresses a lot of the time, you know? But, like, Louis Vuitton, it felt like it is no longer like a high-end thing, and it's just more, which I know this is what you've talked about on the pod. But, like, I don't know, it just felt like maybe it's not the case anymore, or it became like
well, I think
a
a lot
thing.
a
I don't
lot
know.
of people have criticisms of him that I think are the wrong criticisms.
What are people's criticisms? Because I don't have a.
I mean, not. Look, I can totally get with. I'm a little sick of the celebrity designer situation.
I think that's
of
what
any
I'm responding
kind.
to is like, okay, cool. So you just like hired a person with a name that everybody knows who is a musician. So like, why not hire for the next creative director? Why not hire a person who makes good pizza? Because that's about the correlation that having a fashion designer and being a musician is. It's about equal distance from making good pizza and being a fashion designer.
Listen, I think that so we without going deep into this because we've done it a bunch of times. The Virgil thing that people don't understand is, yes, I can totally understand what initially when he started with Louis Vuitton, for example. I'll tell you, I was the first one to go, I hate that it doesn't come from a design school. I don't like there's a lineage to this that I kind of respect, even though I think what we found out was there was a huge reason that needed to get messed with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get the same types of people. Quite frankly, it's going to be a bunch of bootlicking designers that just do whatever the conglomerate that owns it is going to tell them to do, and they play by the rules and they do these things and they accept all the. Because that's the thing that I really feel like if you haven't watched Dior and Me or Dior and I, sorry, that you really should, for the sense that it gives you a better idea of the amount of bullshit red tape the design. It's not like you think of Raf Simons, especially at the time, was bigger than ever. You know what I mean? And to go to Dior, that was a big deal. And then to still get there and then be like, oh, you're not going to do this, that, or the other. And here's all these things you're going to have to work against and all these things that you want to do. That's great. But good luck convincing all these people. You know what I mean? The amount of like stuff you run into, because it's not, you'd think that like, oh, carte blanche, right? They can do whatever they want. It's not the case. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think that like for a designer to be able to get their vision through all of that red tape is really tough on its own. Thing I like about the interviews and things I've read with Wells Bonner is that she seems like there's an aesthetic that she's had since the beginning that has not been compromised. She seems very sure of herself and very confident in what they want to present to the world. So I'm hoping that will come through, because I think Hermes is a house that has more attention than ever, especially with all the Birkin things going on, all this, history stuff that people have learned about it. But the collection has not been good in forever. There's very few times where you've seen anything like, oh, that Hermes piece was really this. Now, a lot of that's just because of access, because it's really, really expensive. Now, this is also something, I don't know what control she'd have over this, but this is something that I've heard her talk about or seen her work with brands on purpose to make it more accessible. Like she did work with Adidas, and she did collection as well as the collaborative shoes. Her price point was never extreme in what she was making. So maybe she'll bring a little bit of that, like, put people back into Hermes a little bit more, as opposed to this being this, like, it's very for one type of person, and then it's really not supposed to be, collected by others. So I don't know. I like her vision a lot. I can see it applied to Hermes. Now, I was a big proponent of, I wanted her to be up for Gucci. I think her sliding into Gucci it's like a no-brainer based on the work she's already done. The things that I think there's a lot of brand alignment. I don't know if that was even on the table, but I think it would have been an interesting choice for them. I was kind of almost surprised that it wasn't her, or quite frankly, Emily Bodie. I think that would have made, there would have been good alignment there. And there's enough lineage and power with the brand and name that would have made sense too. But to go back to the thing before, I think that the criticism that happened initially with Virgil's like, oh, this is not the traditional way that you get this job. And there was a traditional way to get that job. Then the thing I can advocate for that is that the nice thing is you were getting no-name people that worked their ass off in design school and got noticed and put in the time in a place and eventually there was a very clear, this kind of like stepping stone thing. You know what I mean? And you could kind of tell who they were grooming way ahead of time and stuff like this.
Are you kind of like responding to these high fashion brands using their creative director? Is that the term?
This is the problem, though. I think that I'm going to assume that what Louis Vuitton isolated with Virgil is that he had a design background in architecture and all these other graphic design, all these things. He had started multiple brands. He'd worked with multiple brands. He'd worked in the fashion industry. There was a lineage that made sense. It just wasn't the traditional one. and isolating that early on and saying that's someone who has a clear vision, that's someone who's got the gumption to do this, that they have something that they're going to be able to apply to our brand and understand like the bigger statement that like that platform gives you.
Yeah.
And he did understand that. The problem is what they saw was, oh, this kind of like no-name guy gave power to the people and changed what the brand could be in sum total. And you just have to go around and find someone who's super popular with everybody and hire them. And it's like, nope. I understand Pharrell was involved in fashion for a long time, but he wasn't. Not really, though. Do you know what I mean? Like he wasn't. It wasn't grassroots shit. He was a guy who produced and made some great like hip hop albums and underground kind of rap stuff, and did interesting things in the space, and always had fashion at the forefront. But that wasn't what the grind was. It was a different kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there wasn't. I don't think there's a clear, like, obvious, like this is the lineage up to this thing that made sense. That felt more like, oh, we can kind of apply this same thing that we did once before again. And it clearly, in my opinion, has not worked out. I mean, I don't know what their overall sales are or how you would want to even judge that. But collection-wise, the collections are not memorable. The runway's not memorable other than it's expensive. But like, there's nothing I remember. I've seen it all and I don't remember anything about it. I can't even really remember pieces.
Yeah.
And it all kind of just feels like, I can't think of the cause and stuff like it feels like or Bape. It feels like feels like he's applying a lot of like stuff that he's a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And like I don't think there's anything like wrong with that, but like those are other people's styles that would have been available to do that and probably would have had a clearer vision if that's the direction you wanted to go.
Yeah.
This feels a little copy pasted, a little bit like
it feels like they're using an influencer. There's like who has a large audience and we can appoint them to this made up position, whether it is made up or not. This is my perception from the outside. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, everybody knows Pharrell, and he's kind of on the periphery. So if we just have his name tied to it, that will be good for us. He doesn't actually have to have any experience or any of the knowledge that other people for years and years and years and years have worked, like you said, worked really hard to go through school, earn a name for themselves,
they're
et
not
cetera,
more
et cetera.
deserving. It costs a certain amount of money to go to those schools, a certain amount of freedom, because there's a pretty big chance you aren't going to make a lot of money doing that things. That is a cog in a machine that is a difficult thing to be. There's a bunch of reasons that doesn't make sense either, and I think that there's more non-traditional ways of getting to those places than ever before, especially with it's like completely ignoring the dawn of the internet, and it's like I can start a brand tomorrow and have it up and running.
Totally.
And there's new ways to look for these designers, I think. There's new ways to like isolate talent and award hard work and stuff like this that isn't this very boring traditional set of rules, which I think that's what Virgil really did, is he broke that sort of glass ceiling on, number one, diversity, for Christ's fucking sake, however you look at it, in the fashion industry, that is paramount at this in my opinion, because I'm so sick of just seeing the same type of people's opinions on fashion. It's like we've seen that. We know what that is. We need new stuff. We need new perspectives because new perspectives push art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it's not for you, but you want it to go. I want it to move forward. And I think this is where I struggle a little bit sometimes. When actually, this was something I was thinking about today, because I think that there's no wrong when it comes to this. For example, I think that you would count yourself closer to Don't take anything I'm saying derogatorily. Closer to uniform dressing than fashion dressing.
Me?
There's no question.
Oh, 100%. I will openly say I view clothing as utility. So that's why I've never had an interest in Louis Vuitton, Dior, all of this. That is all unattainable. I will never own those pieces to wear them, because when would I wear those and in what situation? Because it's not at all genuine to me. So
And
it's hard for me to get there.
One informs the other in the opposite way around. So to act like you're not part of it just because you dismiss this thing that feels out of your...
It feels out of my reach because I am not a wealthy individual.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to go down this road, but yes. So it's
in
like...
in the grand scheme of things, I can't afford anything from Hermes outside of an ashtray.
But what I'm saying is like, and most can't. You know what I mean? That's the vast majority of people. That is an upper echelon. That's especially like a particularly upper echelon version of that brand.
Yeah.
Of these types of brands or houses or whatever. I just think though that like there's these. I don't think it's bad to like fashion rules, which is kind of like the camp that you're in. You like the rules. You want there to be this like, you do this and you do that, and these are the things, and these things function as this, and these things do this, and if I put these things together, that's the rules. And not to say that you care about this, but this goes back into like, if you think about like Ralph Lauren, who I love also, but there's rules to the, like, you wear this to this because that's the type of event it is. You don't wear white after, all these rules. And there's all that stuff. And I agree that I would probably lean closer to that stuff than I do not. But I also think that I'm a little sick of if you really think about it, man, especially, and you see certain trends in fashion when you've been in it long enough, things get boring.
Oh,
and I'm
sure.
not saying there's not really interesting things happening, and I think that we're at the forefront of the interesting things happening.
Yes, always.
But it's not
looking for it.
happening at a grander scale right now. You know what I mean? It's like the smaller brands are informing the big brands, and they pick it up way too late. You know what I'm saying? And that, in some ways, maybe that's just the disruption that the industry needs, and I'm perfectly fine with that. In another way, I do miss that it felt like there were things you paid attention to because they were, it's just like there's certain painters or certain musicians that become so influential that you have to agree. Like, for example, like, I'm certainly a little weary of hearing about Mick G at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it's gotten so popular.
Okay.
It's becoming a household name. You know what I mean? And I think it will, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Because it permeated and did something different that enough people felt the same kind of collective, like, we need something different in this space. We need the guitar to have a new
twang,
a new person behind it. You know what I mean? Like a modern, like this represents current culture. And not just this repetition of, like, Jimmy Page or whatever you want to make it. You know what I mean? It's boring and it's gotten dated, and it's and not that it's not important and great. It's just, it's one thing seen through 1,000 lenses.
Sure.
This comes around and kind of like takes a bunch of pieces from all these different famous people and goes, oh, I can do my own interpretation. And I think that when that happens, the people in the culture go, oh, this represents us, and this is new and modern, and we support it. And then it permeates enough that it's like, the reality is that just is kind of the best thing going in that specific realm. And it's hit enough people's ears that's the good thing. That will change the way music sounds now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This used to happen in hip hop a lot, for example. And I would argue that it has not happened in a while. No one's pushing it, man. It just kind of feels like the same thing for the past handful of years over and over and over again.
Listen, as somebody that primarily listens to, like, Atlanta-based hip hop shit like that, it's more or less the same from 2017 till now.
For a while, it felt like we were getting like a new innovator that was taking it to a different extreme, or taking this and putting this influence in. And it felt like all these things were happening that were really pushing that genre.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of stopped innovating. And now it's not in the best place. Not to say that there aren't people making cool stuff. There's always cool people making cool stuff, But it's certainly not happening as quickly and at the same scale. And so you see different things happen. The problem is fashion has kind of been in this weird liminal space for a little bit now, where nobody's been assigned designers. The ones that have aren't really tested. The stuff, and then some of them that put stuff out was kind of like, well, that was it. That was your big. I just didn't feel like didn't have a big impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just haven't seen anything in my mind really trickling down any longer. And I think that sucks. If the collective isn't getting pushed, and you're asking only, like, for example, if the only cool bands that exist are, weird bands in garages in Wisconsin, that's really cool. That's the type of shit I love. But that's not going to push the genre. You know what I mean? That's not going to make things better fast enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I really want something to happen in fashion right now that shakes things up a little bit, because it's gotten drab.
Yeah.
And in some ways that can be interesting. I think there's cool people doing, their own thing in their own lane, and that's great. But a lot of those people have been doing it. That's because they've been doing it for eons. And they're not necessarily innovating. They're just continuing to do something that they've always done well, and it's come to the forefront because you don't have a bunch of hoopla going on.
Sure.
But we need something happening at this point, I think, because I'm really bored and frustrated with runway fashion these days. And it's not to say that there's not cool people doing things around. There is. It's just, why are they not in charge of these bigger platforms, in my opinion?
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? That's kind of where I land with it. You know what I mean? I think that, like, for example, like, why aren't they tapping, designers at Oralita,
That's the first brand that I was thinking of. It was like, it's cool runway. The pieces are legitimately wearable. It's not like so unattainable price wise. It's like permeated within this niche. Everybody knows Aurelie and is pining after one or two pieces, if you know what I mean, like those chore coats that came out last fall.
And there's no question it's not influencing things. It's absolutely influencing
100%.
things. I see the influence 100%. But it's like that's the closest thing I feel like we've got to, like, proper innovation. Now people are going to jump in and say, oh, this, that, and the other, and they've probably got correct answers in some places. But to be honest with you, like, runway fashion, it's just, I watch it, man. I followed it for a long time now in my life, and I don't feel like I'm coming away inspired or like, oh, this is a really unique perspective. And I think it's because we've had kind of the same perspectives for a really long time. I don't need Kim Jones' perspective on anything at this point. I've seen it. It signed at a lot of places, Dior.
Oh, okay.
But it's like I'm just sort of, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm good. It feels like it's kind of the same people over and over and over again. So I like the idea of Wales Bonner. I think that's a brand that's been around, tested, no question. Not enormous though by any stretch, compared to like who they could have tapped, I'm sure.
Where's Wales Bonner based out of the UK?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Maybe.
That's my perception.
Yeah. So I think it's an interesting choice for a lot of reasons. I'm hoping that this is a trend of like hiring like younger designers, diverse designers, and just like seeing what happens with that platform, because the platform, I mean, it still exists. It's still hugely profitable and all these things, but I don't know, either everyone has bad taste and we're just not willing to like mix things up, or I don't know, but fashion has gotten kind of cowardly in my opinion. So
interesting.
It'd be nice to see something happen.
Yeah. I'm all for it. We're here to sell you the clothes. So
yeah. So I think it's an exciting move. Hopefully it looks good.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
And if it doesn't, probably not her fault. Probably everything else I explained.
Well, it's like you said, there's in a lot of cases, these brands, and I'm not trying to be negative here, but you said it too. It's like they're hiring a person to be the face of this company, but there's a lot of rules and things that person is not. They don't have carte blanche to actually make decisions.
Well, Hermes has got the money to hire someone that's got a way bigger like profile. You know what I mean? If that's the direction we're going, if you just want to hire these celebrity figureheads, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
They got money to do that. But like I think this is a braver choice in that I think that this is someone who's got a strong direction and is absolutely going to bring that strong direction.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm sure they could hire somebody like.
And when things are like that, you know what I mean? When you take like for example, I think that was part of it. I mean, you're thinking back when it took over, Louis Vuitton was extensively a mall brand. You know what I mean? That's the reality. I don't think anything interested happening except for like, I don't know, maybe the Marc Jacobs era or something, but it was just gotten boring and drab and mall-y and very Midwestern.
Yeah.
And then Virgil's was like, well, this is going to be a lot of conflict because that's a very different aesthetic that you're trying to apply to that thing. So I think finding designers that have different aesthetics, are great. Plus female designers. I can't say it enough. I feel like all my favorite designers, Phoebe Philo, Margaret Howell, these are some of the best. So I want more perspective of that, especially just in general, because I think that I don't know. I just think it's more interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, I'm trying to buy some more Orslo when that shit comes. So. If we could bring broadening his perspective, if we could bring it back to what's attainable, But no, that's cool, and I agree. I agree that my perspective on all the high fashion shit is, it's nice to participate as an onlooker, and I understand the art aspect of it and all of that. It's just why it has never really truly appealed to me. Is like I envy people who can like quote unquote like window shop. You know what I mean?
Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna say this to you, and what I mean is it to the audience, because I think a lot of people feel this way with fashion of like, well, if I can't have it, then what's the purpose? And I've had this conversation a million times with like, you don't go to a museum and think, I need to have these things or they're worthless. You know what I mean? The goal is that you see things and are inspired in your own way to apply that, because a creative director's job, in my opinion, is not to make clothes to sell. It is to create an aesthetic and a world and dynamics that can be applied to a million different things. It can be applied to smaller designers that can use some of that influence that they had all this money and all this team and all these things to take this bigger vision and make it, at the forefront. And then smaller designers can be influenced. People at home can go to Goodwill and buy things that look like that and apply it. You know what I mean? So I think especially when you think about Wales Bonner, who's always been about putting culture and heritage into their collection, that will be something that they put and apply there that makes me go, I'm resonating with Hermes for the first time, because it's not going, this isn't for me. Well, this is assuming she can do what I think she can, but it's not about it whether it's for me or not. It's about that, like, oh, look, it's cool to see some of this isn't my culture, but for somebody, see, oh, that's my culture applied to something at that high level. That's great. That makes me feel proud of my culture. That makes me feel proud of who I am. And I can apply some of that stuff. And I'm in fashion now because I've always known about these kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think it happens at that level in an interesting way. I think like I want more people to understand like the hard work that goes into that kind of stuff. Like that is miserable, hard that is punishing work. People talk about like the post office. Fashion cycle is worse than the post office. It is design it, move on to the next one, move on to the next one. You've got people like J.W. Anderson balancing like 5 different things at the same time that he's developing 5 collections for every single year. That is punishing work. And to be that creative and that consistent that many times in a row feels impossible. It's impossible to me. It's not
I
for
was just
me.
wondering, like, for J.W. Anderson, like, is it worth it? Because I feel like if you were stretching yourself that thin and over creative projects like at that breadth, do you put it out and fucking hate it? You know what I mean? Like when you paint shit, or like when I would do sign jobs and shit, like I was doing it part time, and a month later I'd be like, ugh, that's awful. I would have made so many decisions different, et cetera, et cetera. Like that,
but
it has to be.
This is a whole different argument, and I like this argument, but it's like when I'm going fast with art, it's because there's a lot of ideas that are happening fast, and it's not art isn't about getting anything perfect. And again, none of this is about getting anything perfect. It's about getting an idea out on the table that people will resonate with, and it'll change things.
Yeah.
When you're at the top of that form, I mean, that's the point. Is like it's the influence. It's the what could things be. It's how can I push the culture forward, as opposed to can I sell this one jacket that's like got a crazy design or something on it? It's not about that. It's about it's like taking like some because they'll create fabrics, these insane hand done jacquard, blah 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 blah. Name it with silk, whatever it is, and of course they're gonna make 2. It's not the point. The point isn't that can someone buy that? Can you sell that? Now you've over-commerced art. And I understand that it's complicated in fashion because it's so connected. But at the same time, I think that like, I don't know, like that it happening at a fast level and it happening quickly, and you're putting stuff out there and you're able to go, I can, like, for example, for him, whether I like his designs or not is a completely different thing. The fact that you can design for Uniqlo, your own brand name, which has to be a very personal thing, and so in these other handful of other things that he's done throughout the years of these bigger, you're designing kind of for somebody else through somebody else's lens. To do that much different types of work, that's an incredible. And I also wouldn't, if I'm him and you work for this your whole life, so why would you turn down any of those opportunities?
No,
put out as much work as you possibly can. I mean, I think that like no one was ever like, hey, Picasso, not so many. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I guess you're right. That's a really fair.
Spaces.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's really fair.
You,
and I'm sure there are things that he's like, I'm not super stoked on that, but whatever. I'm just going to keep plugging away, and I'm going to make a different decision.
I'm sure his
time.
most popular single item is not his favorite piece he's ever designed.
Sure.
And those are two different things that you have to reckon with.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just think that like the reason I'd really strongly encourage you to not just write this thing off as something that doesn't matter or I can't attain it or blah, blah, blah. The fact is it's kind of that Devil Wears Prada, like, famous quote where she walks through like why this does matter at a small level. Like why this doesn't skip you because you decided to not be a part of it. Like it's the same way that like that is the situation with art is like it will affect you in all these different ways. Whether you choose to ignore it or not doesn't matter. You know what I mean? That's an irrelevant thing. And like I think that it makes you appreciate stuff so much more when you see either when you're looking at like high-end runway and saying, I get what they're doing. I know what that jacket's in reference to. I know what this cultural thing is that they're referencing. That feels personal to me, and that's so interesting. And this is art at its highest form. Doing something that resonates with me and resonates with some billionaire that wants to actually buy this stuff. You know what I mean, or whatever. And then down to the level of like. I don't know. It's just it's the expansion of your mind and what you can take in. I think is really important, especially with art in general, but really with fashion because I think so many people don't understand why the thing that you have on is what it is. You know what I mean? But there's a million different reasons for those things.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's usually coming from up top down. I mean, right now I will agree there's a weird trickle up as opposed to trickle down happening because of
smaller brands are influencing these huge, which we know the photo we're all referencing.
You should know that. Like that's a fun, that's an interesting dichotomy that's happening right now that hasn't happened in the past or probably has a couple times, but like this is a unique situation that we're in and we'll see what happens with it. And that's fun and interesting to follow because it will absolutely inform everything that we do here. It will absolutely inform everything that like Uniqlo, H&M, Zara does. You know what I mean? Like all these things influence each other. And like, so whatever level you're coming at it from, you didn't get there with no information. You just think you did.
Yeah.
And so it's
that's fair.
I think it's a very important thing to do. Like I said, I have asked you for a million years, try that watch that movie
Dior
and tell me
Dior,
it doesn't
yeah.
pique your interest. And if it doesn't, I will never bring it up again. But I'd
No,
be
it,
shocked if it didn't.
probably would pique my interest, and yeah, it is. I see the value in appreciating it for the art that it is. You know what I mean?
For
I'm
example,
looking at it as through layman's terms. Like I can't wear that coat to the store. I'd look crazy.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but you can, like, let's say I'm building a chair and you can go, well, I can look up something easy and put that together. I can go to IKEA and buy that, you know, blah, 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 whatever it is. And there's all sorts of reasons why you came into it at that level. But if you look at like videos of like Japanese joinery or all these crazy things, you're like, Jesus Christ, the craft at this level and the amount of information you'd have to know and the like heritage of the thing that gets passed down through generations, that's how people know it and how people make things. And then you see something that's inspired by it and that makes you feel like, oh, fuck, I have such a connection to that because I know something about it. That's what all this is. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Yeah, see, that's interesting to me. At least the furniture offers a utility, but also like, you know, and this is just me just sharing my thoughts. I'm not saying I'm right in this, but like you'll see like, what kind of car is that? You'll see things like a $20,000 chair, whatever it is, a high value that looks completely uncomfortable, and then my mind goes to like, well, that thing that could serve a function is doing a worse job than something that is percentage of the price.
What you're arguing for, though, is problematic to me. It's that there should be no art. Everything should be utility.
No, I guess you're right, and you're right. That's exactly how I'm approaching it, and I understand the flaw with that. But that is how I process the information of like, wow, not only is that unattainable and exclusionary on every point because who has the money to spend $35,000 on this thing, it also would feel like shit to have. And so who is having it and what are they trying to portray outside of
But your ignorance can't define everything.
No, I mean you're right, because when you said like the
yeah.
joinery and shit, like I'm sure that there are things that I would see that and be like, wow, that is really interesting because of the amount of allowance they make in the joints or the dovetail or what have you. You know what I mean? I'm not versed in woodworking.
No, and that's not a good example to go down.
No, exactly. But I'm certain that there are aspects that would add value to me.
Chase, for example, why have something hand painted as opposed to just getting a vinyl? One's cheaper, faster, quicker. I can take it off easily when I'm done. Why would I do one over the other?
Yeah.
Because one is something
is
about
a person that
first of all, it's not if it's not for you, it's not for you, I guess. But it's like, but the ignorance to not knowing like why I would just do that in Photoshop versus doing it by hand. There is something different when you see it in
you've
person.
struck
There's
a chord.
No question.
You struck a chord. It's exactly 1-to-1, just through a different lens. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. And for me, the argument why you would want something hand painted is because it's a trade and you learn it through, for the most part, word of mouth or things that you can learn through books, et cetera, and there's a lot of value. And I can tell you why you want that and why that is the cooler thing between the two, when obviously vinyl is faster, less expensive. It can happen within an hour and it's very non-permanent. And you know what I mean? Like, you're right. That's really, I like that comparison, and it lands in a way that is more digestible to me.
And what I mean by, and I'm not trying to use the word ignorance in a way that's negative, because everyone has it. I don't know one thing about football, so for me to judge it is probably not fair because I don't know anything about it. I don't, but it's it's just that's.
I understand.
I can only bring in so much information.
Totally,
it's really the real issue. But when you think about like, or if you watch that movie, the thing that I find so interesting is the amount of like older ladies who went through, who have been doing this for way longer than the designer that comes in, that are hand beating something moments before that takes ages. I mean, this is something that can only be learned by doing this for goddamn forever. You know what I mean? And being a savant at it. You know what I mean? Just being one of the best. And the fact that those people aren't ever even mentioned, they don't even sit at the show, which is a largely contested thing. But it's insane. Why are those people not in those are the people that made the clothes. Now, I believe that there needs to be a vision that is communicated and then somebody makes it. You can understand that. There's a designer and, you know what I mean? Those are two different things. Those can be two different jobs, no question. But one informs the other, without a doubt. And that's really interesting. I mean, and those people only learn that stuff from going to like these insanely old schools. They're going into that thing being, this is the hardest work. It'll never get acknowledged at a high level.
See, now that's an injustice that I don't like. That's a notch against high fashion.
Yeah, but you also realize how difficult it is when you are Raf Simons getting hired to do this, to work with this brand that has an insane legacy around something completely different than what you do. Big, bold, modern, color blocking, and then go, now you're going to work with a bunch of people who, I mean, it's like Kandinsky working with fucking like Rembrandt. It's like, it's two things that like don't work together that have to work together, and they find ways. And that is like collaboration at the highest form. That is like compromise in the right way. You know what I mean? And learning to inform each other. And like, it teaches like a bigger cultural thing to society that is like happening in a microcosm of art. And I think that's like incredibly interesting.
But it is a shame though that so-and-so is being recognized for the clothing they're making, but like, and we've had this discussion, maybe Christophe Lemaire is him behind a sewing machine. You know what I mean? But also maybe not. Maybe he just has an idea, and all these people have put in their 10,000 hours of the actual labor, but they're not.
But you also know sometimes, sometimes that like, just because I'm really good at doing something doesn't mean I know what to do when it comes to like present this in a way that is utterly palatable to a huge audience, has your vision, has a clear direction, is trying to say something, is doing everything that it's supposed to do. Sometimes that does take someone that's working at a different level than behind a sewing machine.
I guess for me as a dumbass, I need to look through it through a lens that's highly digestible to me, and it's like, should I get paid for a sign job if I didn't be the one to paint it? And I think,
what do you mean? You're telling me you never compromised on a design? Of course you did. Of course you brought them something and they said, well, we want it this way, or we want it that way. And you've got to figure out a way to take what you do and your style and put it into what they're presenting. So you're not just painting one-to-one. Otherwise, you're kind of back to what you're saying. And again, now, what you don't even realize is you tripped into the same conversation we were having in the beginning of like, what is... What's right in that form? Should it come from somebody that has had that design lineage? Because that is the old school thing that I found myself for a long time arguing is like, you don't know how to sew. You don't know how to do these things. You don't know how to do all this. And is that right? I don't know, because it can be done a lot of different ways. There's a lot of ways to chop an onion.
I think there's something else that I've learned about my process with it. And what is impressive is the details behind a leather jacket from a high fashion company that costs $20,000. What's impressive to me is the way in which it's constructed and the actual finishing and et cetera, et cetera. What's impressive to me is not the person that drew it on the paper. It's the actual people physically with their hands who did that. Now, if the designer is as gifted as them, then there's another argument to make.
So you could say that like, then a wallet should have never changed from a traditional bifold, because we had one design that works. There's one person who can make it the best, and that's the only way it should ever be.
I see the argument.
So if somebody sits there and goes, what if it was like this? I don't know how to make that, but could we try? And then if somebody tries and goes, yeah, oh, that's interesting. Now you see what I'm saying?
I do.
And what's fun is when you're educated about all this stuff, this is the argument. This is the stuff to take into consideration and learn about. You know what I mean? Because it is.
No, I actually really...
Nobody's right or wrong here.
I really enjoy this because it is actually... it's interesting to see why I feel the way I do. And dude dancing in the street, just I don't know
he's
if
just
he
like
thinks he's got an audience or what, but it's like, please. But it is interesting because I'm impressed always with like either the utility of it or like the actual person who I would assume making a leather jacket that is fully lined, etc. That has to take a long time, and that's more impressive to me than somebody who is like, I know how I can take something that we can all agree there's 10,000 iterations of a leather jacket on the planet, if not 100,000. Who can make it the best? That's the most impressive thing, not who can take inspiration from a million other things and then tell somebody else to do it. Like, for instance, if somebody was like, I found a new way to make a jacket that nobody has ever thought of before, but we're all drawing inspiration off of like the same like 6 military pieces for a lot of things. You know what I mean?
You've kind of brought it full circle, and Steve Jobs, who couldn't do anything, obviously, he just had the ideas. You know what I mean? He didn't design anything. He didn't do any of that shit. You know what I mean? But he leaves, and we've had the same phone and the same everything since he left.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
agree.
So there is... I would make the argument that I think that there's a case for both. You know what I mean?
No, there definitely is a case for both. And I think the idea person has a lot of value as well. But the way that I disseminate information, what I place value on, I'm more interested in the person making the garment than the person who thought of the garment. I'm more interested in the actual person in the minutia doing the thing rather than the person who has had the time and space and
Okay, so
think
what
about
about
something
thinking
for
of
a
it
long
this way?
time.
It's like I'm going to use a different example. You could probably use a sports one, so you can put
Yeah,
this
whatever,
together
yeah.
in your head however you want. But like the movie Whiplash, where you're like, it
Awesome
kind
movie,
of
by the way,
creates
yeah.
it creates this dynamic of, well, that kid wasn't going to get there on his own. I don't think that person isolated talent and pushed to a level, but that's arguable. Of like, was he really doing anything? Did he, was there anything he was really bringing to the table?
Timothy, I like this. This is a good conversation because I fully understand what you're saying. I really do, and I really truly love that movie
and
so much.
The point is that fashion and art, when you understand things at this level, the same thing is like, I know tiny bits about art. That world is so much far beyond. And if you want to talk about unattainable, I can't the smallest artist I can't afford a little piece from. You know what I mean? You can find little pieces and investments here, but like at any sort of serious level, the money's crazy. You know what I mean? And there's all this gross money, and the way that you're putting value on things makes no sense at all. You know what I'm saying? It's truly chaotic and I don't understand it at all. I've been reading a book about it, but it's
Interesting.
It's a different world. I don't know any of it at all. And I think that though, the more you understand it, the more it helps you appreciate stuff. And I think that that's why, regardless of what your opinion is, being more and more educated on this in this area is important because it just informs so many things, and there's so many little microcosms happening inside of it that are applicable across anything. You know
and
what I mean?
I struggle in aspects of my life, and it's not until being grown that I understand that this has caused me strife. But I want everything to be black and white.
Yeah.
And I want to just be able to say a statement that's true, and forever that will be true, and I don't have to change my thought on it. And I can feel myself trying to apply it. You don't see that often. Old fella with white hair, white beard, in a newsboy cap, riding a fucking white, red, and blue crotch rocket down Pearl
It looked
Street.
like one of the members of the Muppet Band riding a Kawasaki.
Yeah, straight up. Damn. But I want to be able to just say a thing, and then that is true, and that is my opinion, and it will never change. And there's a lot of nuance to all of this because you're bringing up the nuance of the Whiplash movie. I know that.
It's so boring.
I know
the world
that.
doesn't
That's just
exist
how
that
I approach. I know, and I'm finding that. Like I said, at 32, I'm realizing now, wow, that's just not how things are.
I agree. I think that when you're younger, you really want to apply black and white statements to everything.
Simple. Then you know what to expect, and you can plan. You know what I mean?
And I think that especially if you come in with extremes, hard opinions. I mean, we were more into that even when we started the podcast, which wasn't that long ago. And the more and more I get away from that, it's like, I don't have a strong opinion about anything. I want to have a conversation about it, and then find out or then go home and question myself a little bit because I'm wrong most of the time.
I completely agree, and I really do truly hope, because I do a lot of bits on this podcast. I say a lot of strongly worded opinions, this, that, and the other. I'm leaning into it because this is the format of what we have to talk, and we have to do bits.
I saw somebody commented on something. I was like, these guys are just yapping. And you're like, yeah, brother,
yeah,
what do you
dickhead.
think this is,
That's literally what this is.
If you don't have conversations, what else are you supposed to do, bro? So, everyone's working from home now. You don't get to like barroom debate anymore.
No.
Wikipedia exists. It's fun to just like bicker, basically.
It's fun to bicker.
Learn something.
And I share a lot of opinions both on this and off this. I really truly want everybody to know, and I hope everybody in my life would agree, I'm super legitimately open to having my mind changed into.
Well, I'll tell you right now, because I don't think of myself as like, what's insane, I don't think of myself as like talkative or whatever, because socially I'm not the best, but it's a lot of, because I think that having good conversation requires a lot of trust.
Yeah.
I trust you to understand my side of things, even if I'm not wording it properly. No, I know that you're not easily offended. I know that you're willing to change your opinion, but 100%. I also know you're going to come in with an insane opinion. Yeah. And I like the challenge of trying to convince you otherwise. And sometimes of things that it's just,
you might not even necessarily feel that way, but let's just have the conversation.
I just like to argue about it.
I love a conversation. I love a debate. I think it's great. And again, I think I have had my mind changed slightly. I do think the most impressive thing of a project is the person getting it done and not the person telling the person to get it done. But I see the value in both sides. Whiplash is a great example. I really think
the truth is I think about Whiplash as like, I really like the movie. I don't think I'd put it in my top 10, but I really like it.
Yeah, I love it.
But I do think about it a lot because that dynamic is truly difficult, and I think it applies to your life a lot throughout times and different dynamics you have with people or work or whatever it is. And you're like, well, shit, if this wouldn't have happened, would that have pushed me to do this? Or did I need that? Because without that conflict, maybe things wouldn't have changed.
Yeah, sure.
But maybe like not allowing it to organically happen and organically have self-expression, maybe that's its own problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I apply that movie to a lot of different things, and it applies here and it applies to a lot of places, like I said. But yeah, there's no right answer. I think you could convince me of either side at any day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And I think I could agree. And I think that's what's, like I said, when you find things like, I think art is just a broad way of saying like interesting things happening in culture that can be applied elsewhere. Because I feel like everything I'm saying could apply to different things.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like these worlds live in all facets of, you know, it doesn't have to just be fashion. It's just, this is the one I'm interested in.
Yeah, no,
you know?
but you're right. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's all sorts of nuance that happens inside of football or whatever with ownership and blah, 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 because that obviously matters. You know what I mean? Like the way people display themselves it's not fully just self-expression. It's not just athletics anymore. You can agree. There's much business inside of it that creates its own thing. So it's not pure athleticism anymore. Maybe there's probably interesting arguments for pure athleticism. There's probably interesting arguments, I mean, for all sorts of different things inside of that. I just don't know all the nuances or anything.
No, totally,
like that.
totally. And for the record, I'm still obviously very much so learning the sport. I grew up watching the sport, but like I'm really deep in it right now and learning like how like certain defenses will show themselves to the offense, so that the offense, the quarterback, is not able to disseminate who's rushing, who's playing zone, who's on who. You know what I mean? And there is a lot of like aspects to like coaching actually does have a huge impact on the outcome of the game. You can have the most athletic dudes, but if you have them all doing, you know, working against each other in ways, that's not gonna.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and I think that's like, you know, when, you know, I went through a little while I was painting when my wife and kid were away for a little while. I got really into like basketball documentaries because I rewatched The Last Dance and I was like, I'll just consume every one that I can find. And I watched probably 20 at least, you know what I mean? And it puts you in this different place of appreciation of the sport, of things going on, because there's all these like weird dynamics and stuff like that. It's the same thing that I'm encouraging you to do because you work in the industry and, you know, have a voice and a platform in the industry that being educated on that kind of stuff makes you more into it, makes you more interested. It's not about buying. Commerce is like a separate thing with this to me. With it's just it's implied, same thing as art and everything else, but at the end of the day, I think what makes it like fun is when you're that into it, you're like, fuck, dude, I know, like I see this trend happening. I guarantee this is going to happen. The fact that like when all this shakeup happens, you start going, what designer makes sense? Could that, it's the same shit as you're applying to sports. It's really, really similar. And I think that it would help you appreciate the full scope of what's happening. Even more, you know, and it makes you appreciate, you know, people like Orslo even more of like, you know, they decided to go a different direction with that thing. They found a different way to utilize their voice and their opinion and keep it consistent. Yeah. And you can go, I like designers with a really consistent vision. You know, I'm a huge Phoebe Philo person. She is non-negotiable on her vision.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know what I mean? And that's great. But it's also, I could hear the argument that it can be boring. You know what I mean? Or it doesn't change super fast and things like that. And, you know, some people create art very slow and very, you know, when they feel like it and feel inspired. And some people go fast as fuck and they move things along faster. That's preferential at that point. You know what I mean? So.
Cool.
End. We want to wrap it up? Good. Is that everying?
Yeah.
Did we burn all the time?
A little bit.
Between that and football, I feel like.
Shit.
That was 40 minutes each piece. Chase, you want to do the classic, what we got here?
Yeah, we'll do a little one. It's not as eventful.
I'd say talk about things coming up. Yeah. Because by the time this comes out, I think things will have switched and yeah.
So William Frederick, I don't think I mentioned it last pod. I don't know if it was live. Long story short, William Frederick should be live here shortly. We have a percentage of the order coming, or that is coming for fall has already landed. We have Orslo on the way, was slated to come today. It is not. If you could imagine that. They're stuck in customs in California again. That should come tomorrow or the next day. It is
the big boy.
For everybody listening, all of the stuff we've gotten from Orslo thus far, while there were a few seasonal pieces peppered in, it's been largely restocked. It's been largely fatigues, 101s, 105s, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This shipment is so much seasonal. I'm going to throw out just a couple of things because I know we've become an Orslo store more. Like people love Orslo and know that they can come to Canoe Club and get it. Cotton, linen, moleskin fatigues and matching work jackets.
Cool.
In both brown and charcoal. Those are going to be really nice. I'm personally keen for the brown one myself. We have fishtail jackets. We have wide fit fatigues, not wide fit French Army work, like wide fit fatigues and HBT, wide fit cargos.
Do we have the liners coming?
Yes.
Okay.
We also have 100s coming, like Super Dads coming, more of those.
Oh.
So it's all the things from seasonal that a lot of it is largely things we've never had before. So I'm personally really excited about that.
Do we have the prisoner
that's
coat
Ursula.
coming?
I'm not sure if the prisoner coat is in this shipment or the next one, but we'll check.
There's one more shipment after this. It'll be smaller,
Very,
but
very-
compared to
okay.
the other ones. And then here, I'm going to throw something else out there because if you stuck with us this long through football and then me diatribing about the importance of fashion as
You
art for
deserve
the
it.
100th time, I'll tease something here. February drops Orslo collaboration.
Boom, boom, 1, 2.
Ooh.
We're not going to give
not
you much
gonna-
more than that.
No. On this one in particular, we're keeping it pretty under wraps.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you're going to
gonna-
want it from now until February. You're going to want to watch his ass because he will. We've had to bleep him a lot.
I'm gonna have to
throughout the
edit
years.
a
You
lot.
might have to see me run across the garage door really fast or something.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
Which is my
Could we
famous way.
See if he gets that. See if he gets that idea through again.
I also have a video that I pitched to the team for this release that we're going to execute on. And it's
It's like
it's kind of like a cold open from The Office. I have a whole situation. It's going to be about 30 to 45 seconds.
the execution is going to be nearly
And
impossible.
No, it's going to be great. I just need everybody's undivided attention for 30, 40 minutes.
It's a good idea.
30, 40 minutes.
It's going to be great. But yeah, that'll be great. I really, really, really.
Could we
Yeah,
could we give him a teaser that it is made with a natural fabric?
There you go.
Yeah.
It'll
love
be
that,
made
Cole.
from predominantly natural fibers.
Predominantly, yeah.
Yep.
But will it?
This is crazy. I don't even.
I don't even know. I don't even know now. I just say what it is.
So yeah, there's that. Good job with that, Timothy. Because I can't be the one because I'll tell everybody everything. What else? Is there
I
anything
mean,
else?
neither of us is necessarily good with a secret, just to be
Yeah.
clear. But
We got Cowgirl,
Mhm.
and we got some Crocs.
ooh, shout out that black sweatshirt of his, the like antique black one.
yeah,
it
that's
is.
good.
It is one of
It's
the best
cool.
blacks we've had in here in a while.
Goated.
What else
The
do we-
color is great.
Oh, we got the new Danny D stuff. That wasn't a
Yep.
restock. We got that finally live.
I don't know exactly when the exclusives will come out. I know he put them on his Instagram a couple days ago or yesterday or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But if you want to go look at what the exclusives will be for this season, I think they'll drop sometime between now and holiday. So
Yep.
they're really good.
You want to say what
My
it
man
is?
turned
He already
up.
posted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, this is our boy Big Dan because we pretty much just go, here's
This
the
is what
budget
we'd
for a
like.
little special project, and he makes it happen. You know what I mean? So he put together these really cool ceramic clocks.
Yeah.
All of them, it's just one of a kind. So each one is its own guy. It's its
Yeah.
own thing. It's one of one.
Incredibly cool. Incredibly
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, super excited about it.
When I first started working here, you gave me a Henderscheme clock for my birthday at some point in the last 6 years. And I've just always thought that was a cool thing. We wanted a fun knickknack like the Henderscheme stuff that is, So that was a cool execution. I like that he does those lamps and stuff too. Kind of
Yeah.
But shout out our boy, that handsome devil.
Yep.
He knows it.
He
He
is.
needs to bring his dog back through too.
Bring that dog back through. Come back out here, pal. We'll come hang out. So anyway, yeah, shout out Danny of Danny D.
The Amazon guys are getting really close to just Death Stranding guys at this point with that backpack. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know.
Damn.
What is he trying to?
I don't know. I like that. It's cool.
I wonder what he's trying to deliver, but
Well, sweet.
all right. Well, that's
there's definitely more.
Let's wrap it
Go
up.
to new arrivals page. I think there's a lot of like random little things that have dropped, but we have that. We have Camille coming up. We have niceness
shipment on the way. I
Beams
just imported
Plus.
Camille. Beams Plus. Orslo's coming.
When's
Lemaire, small shipment coming.
Bigville will be very
Figville,
soon.
that's what- yeah.
Bigville soon. Fucking gassed
Very
about that.
soon. New capital soon.
Yeah.
A couple other things I'm probably forgetting in some restocks and stuff.
You got some like
so.
Lemaire too
yeah.
coming, right?
A little bit more Lemaire,
Yeah.
some new margin product plus restocks.
Oh yeah.
We got things cooking. So I'd say by the time this comes out and beyond, we'll have a lot of new things going.
Amazing.
Yep.
All right.
Amazing.
All right. I gotta pee. We'll see you guys.